folks, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I've been here on top of the influx of new people, and how do you manage that? Yeah. So that's what every day we try to balance, and I always lean on it, especially Parkside, is like, it's through us, it's through Parks and Rec, how you manage that, through the programs, the events, the community feel. So that's how, and it's true. I just try to sell it every day, and I still do.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series. In this episode, we sit down with Tyler Bybee, Managing Director of Community Services and Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Taylor, who is navigating growth, infrastructure, culture, and quality of life all at the same time. This conversation goes beyond parks. It's about leadership, adaptability, and how Parks and Rec professionals help shape the future of entire communities. If you're leading through change or preparing for what's next, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
All right, this is Craig LeBlanc, live with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I have a special guest from Taylor, Texas, Tyler Bybee. He is right outside the Austin metro area. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One of the big up and coming cities that's got chips being fabbed in their backyard. I've got a great little story to say about all that stuff. But actually, I want to play a little promo for. I'm gonna continue to play the little thank you video. So thanking everybody to get us past the 300th episode. We're actually coming up on our 400th episode because we did 3 back-to-back conventions and we're able to do like 30 shows in a week. And then I'm going to play something for our strategic partners. We've actually been speaking to a lot of vendors that really want to help build this great media company for the Parks and Rec industry. So I really appreciate all the help that we're getting from the vendor community. So we made a little promo for how you can get involved. And so we'll play those 2 back to back and then come back and start our conversation with Tyler.
Sounds great.
"300 episodes. What started as a small idea, Parks and Recreation community, has grown into something truly special. From heartfelt conversations to behind-the-scenes stories, that every episode, every message, every listen has been powered by you. To our loyal listeners, our partners, and every Parks and Rec professional who can, thank you. You've helped us grow, you've helped us evolve, and you've reminded us why we do this. This milestone isn't just ours, it's yours too. As we look ahead to the next chapter, more stories, more community, more impact. From all of us here at DPRS Media Company, thank you for believing in us, for tuning in, and for helping us make it this far. Here's to the next 300 episodes and beyond. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right, Tyler, I got some bad news for you.
What's that?
It was between New Orleans and Austin.
Oh no.
And I chose to move to Austin because I've got, I think, just the jazz music, the festivals, and I know Austin is no slouch in those categories. Just live music.
Oh, you chose New Orleans.
Yeah,
New Orleans. Okay.
Moved New Orleans last week, and it's heartbreaking because I love your area. It's just, to me, one of the best parts of the country. So I'm still going to be visiting a lot. So I'm definitely going to come visit you and see, especially that new fab plant, man. I would love to just drive around it and watch it come up.
It's pretty amazing what's going on, and I don't know if we'll miss you. The growth is still happening, but
oh my
we will
God,
miss you.
yeah, it is. I just want to be a part of it, man. It is to me the epicenter of so many great things happening in the world today. Why don't you tell a little? People probably have no idea what we're talking about, but tell people what just happened within your city limits.
All right, so
What's happening, rather?
what's happening? So Taylor is a small town, eastern Williamson County, which a lot of people know Round Rock, Georgetown, as the center of Williamson County, straight pretty much northeast of Austin Metro. And in 2021, our city of Taylor was able to land a Samsung semiconductor manufacturing fabrication plant. And from there, the growth is, they aren't manufacturing chips. I think next year is their target. But the suppliers and the other industry that have come to Taylor and Eastern Williamson County has been phenomenal. The county is really geared up on our transportation infrastructure, really not a forgotten part of the county, but you would say Western Williamson County was where the growth was, Leander, Cedar Park, those areas. But now is the time. And I think the residents of Taylor knew it was always going to happen at some point. This has just been a catalyst to push that forward, and and all the things that come with it. So yeah, it's been exciting. I actually came to Taylor a few months before the announcement, so I've been along for the whole ride.
Yeah. Now, you were one of those fortunate or unfortunate, I guess, depending on how you frame it, park directors that moved up to city manager, but still kept the title and all the responsibilities of the park and rec director.
That's true. So this fiscal year, and it actually started, my previous boss went to city manager job, took the city manager job in Wichita Falls. And in his vacancy, our city manager promoted 2 directors to managing directors. Yes, I'm still the Parks and Recreation director for the city, and some other things. So it's been a great ride. Feeling really comfortable with the transition, but my heart will always be, my office is still in Parks and Rec. So it's where I grew up in my career, and will always have that place in my heart for sure.
Yeah. You know, if there's any professional or career path that is accustomed to having an entire hat rack full of stuff, where you're like, here's a farmer's market, you're in charge. Here's a graveyard, you're in charge. Special event. And so I think you're up to the challenge.
Oh, I think so. I think most people that have been in my shoes will tell you, like, you may not be as passionate about all those areas, but you can wear the hats and know how to put out fires, because that's just what we do, right? In our industry, you do that every day. So city management's no different. Just a bigger picture, and then the whole picture.
Now, were you always like that? It seems like Parks and Rec people are just great at juggling like 20 balls in the air, and they just do it with grace, and, you know, stuff falls apart and they just go in there and pull it back together.
I don't know. I guess I have been, my whole career has been in high growth areas. Not enough staff, not enough money. So I don't know any different, really. I started out of grad school in Round Rock, not for the city of Round Rock, for a municipal utility district. It was a large, a lot of people aren't familiar with those, but it's an unincorporated area between Round Rock and Cedar Park, and had about 20,000 residents, and a great parks and recreation system in that mud. and I really learned to cut my teeth there on programming, youth sports, and that was my passion. Still is. I don't get to do as much of those things anymore, but and then from there in 2017, I was there from 08 to 17 and saw a lot of growth, obviously in Round Rock. And then I went to Leander, Texas, which is also in Williamson County on the western side of the county. And that city grew from about 45 to about 80,000 in my 4 years there. Fastest growing city at the time, still is really high, and still room to grow with them and Liberty Hill. So high growth. And then in 21, like I mentioned, I came out to Taylor to be the director. And but Taylor's a unique town versus the suburbs. It was the largest town in the county till the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a really amazing downtown grid, that you would think of, where a lot of these newer suburbs have had to manufacture that downtown because it wasn't there because they weren't the larger town. So railroad town. We're celebrating our sesquicentennial, which I can say that word, 150 years.
Wow.
Next year. So we're really gearing up for a lot of amazing things. So, and that comes with, our infrastructure for a lot of years didn't have the funds that they needed. So we have, if we get to a challenge question, Taylor has got some challenges ahead of it. Yeah. There's promise on the horizon, but we have a lot of backloaded maintenance and across the board to catch up with, on top of growing really fast. So
just another day at the office for a Parks and Rec professional.
There you go.
Well, tell me about the history and the kind of culture of Taylor. Like, was it a cattle ranch town, or what was the economy?
No, agriculture, railroad. So the railroad was why. And you look at those towns; they're all about 8 miles apart because that's the rail set those towns in the 1800s. So it was a rail town, agriculture town. Cattle were involved, but not as much as cotton. Cotton at one point, I think Taylor was the largest inland cotton. They called it cotton capital, inland cotton capital, because it wasn't on a port. But the rail was the big driver and a boom town for a lot of years and a hub. So it's just the second coming is what we're saying. It's going to be a hub for between us and College Station. It's a lot of smaller rural towns. That 79 corridor between Taylor and College Station is your next place to fill in along that corridor.
Yeah.
So
you also have like an old historic kind of downtown area like the old towns used to have.
It is an historic old downtown Main Street. Our oldest park turned 100 in 2023. So, and some of those things probably haven't been maintained since, not since then, but you understand the thing we're dealing with, but the character, the charm. So like I mentioned, I worked in those suburbs, and you come to Taylor and you got fifth generation. I've been here on top of the influx of new people, and how do you manage that? Yeah. So that's what every day we try to balance. And I always lean on it, especially the park side, is like, it's through us. It's through Parks and Rec, how you manage that through the programs, the events, the community feel. So that's how, and it's true. I just try to sell it every day, and I still do.
And that's one thing I try to highlight more often is that sheer wealth of real estate that the Parks and Rec industry manages. We did a kind of quick back of the napkin, 12,000 cities across America, kind of get an average of the real estate portfolio. And we're coming up somewhere between 10 to $15 trillion worth of real estate, the most prime real estate, legacy parks, historic landmarks, and the Parks and Rec departments just kind of, manage these year after year after year. Some of those beautiful park systems, some of the most gorgeous parts of our cities. It's just amazing to see what y'all do with the historic properties that y'all are managing. It's gorgeous. Take us back a little bit to who you were back when, when you were thinking about, when did you discover that you might want to do Park and Rec? 'Cause you kind of came up on the sports side of parks, huh?
I did. I actually grew up on Cotton Farm cattle ranch in the Panhandle between Lubbock and Amarillo. I'm a big Red Raider, so
Yeah.
we're doing pretty well right now. I don't want to jinx it though. So
Oh, that's it.
I grew up doing that. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, but we're not going to talk about it. Can't put it out there. We'll just keep playing game by game. We'll see.
That's it. That's all you can do.
Jacob Rodriguez for Heisman. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to school studying ag business or animal science. That's kind of what I knew and thought I wanted to do that. But I've always had a passion for sports, played sports and all through my youth and high school, and got my undergrad degree in ag business. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? And so I went back, got my graduate degree from Texas Tech in sport management. And I really thought I was going to work. I wanted to work for a pro sports team. Took this job that I mentioned in Round Rock doing youth sports. And I also worked for the Round Rock Express, the AAA team there. And I worked in various roles there for a couple of years, and then realized that I didn't think my career would have long-term in that area. It's a lot of hard work. Those folks work a lot of hours and a lot of sales. And so I stuck with the municipal side and the impact I was having on the kiddos and in youth sports, and was really into coaches' behavior and how coaches act and what bad coaching was doing to our kids. And it's funny because my kiddos are now in sports, and I know so much, but I try not to bring that up as much. But it is refreshing. I think there are some people that are getting that coaching is important, and you don't have to scream all the time at the referees. But then I transitioned into the doing more projects and things like that, and really enjoy the construction side of things. And it does help when you have growth and funds to build parks and take some raw land and make it something amazing. And so that's my journey. It's kind of unorthodox, but it kind of fit with agriculture and the sports blending together. Never thought it was that, but have a unique knowledge of animals, which helps. Taylor has a huge rookery of egrets, and we have ducks and beavers and all kinds of things we deal with in our park. So it made me prepared, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So you grew up raising cattle, or did I hear that right?
I did, yes. So grew up doing stock shows. Angus cattle is what our family raised. So we would do stock shows. My dad would sell bulls and heifers, and cotton farmers is what their main crop is. My dad actually is trying to wrap up his 52nd year of farming this year. So you talk about hard workers. Municipal workers work hard, but I don't think anyone works harder than the farmers.
Yeah, we actually, so when I was doing the Bitcoin Daily Show, a guy named Texas Slim is a huge Bitcoiner, but he is a cattle rancher through and through out in West Texas. And he started this network of, I think he's up to about 250 cattle ranchers that raise their cattle the old way, where they really do, they're like, what do they call it? Geneticists, where they really study the genes of the cows. And they don't use antibiotics or vaccines and stuff, and they sell directly to consumer through farmers markets. And I've actually got one of them. That's where I get all my beef from, is directly from the cattle rancher. His big quote is, shake your cattle rancher's hands. Like, you need to know the person that's raising your cows, and
know where your food's coming from. Right?
That's right. Know where your food's come from. I'm a big supporter of the farmers markets. But yeah, I've got cattle ranchers in my own family, and you were right, man. Those guys work hard for their money. It is not an easy task to raise cows.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm the one away though. I'm down here in Austin.
Yeah.
So
you didn't want to stick with the family business?
Thought about it. I had really bad asthma, cotton farming and asthma didn't work out. The dust. I don't have issues now. So maybe I grew out of it, but it's kind of a little irony there. The thing that made profit for my family hurt me. So I was not able to that, but I think I'll always be involved in a way.
Yeah.
My grandparents farmed next to each other. So all my family are from that spot. So definitely deep ties there.
Yeah, and they're one of the last major food supply industries that is not being centralized by these big conglomerates. They're trying to centralize them with these massive, what do they call it, like a butchery or um, it's like a warehouse where they just mass butcher cattle. But they've still got these very tough, stubborn cattle ranchers that just are not giving up, and they're not, they're just doing it the old way. And that's some of the best people in America. So definitely support your local cattle rancher at your farmers market. If you see them, buy your beef from them. I bet you've got a
There you
freezer
go.
full of beef, huh?
I do. My dad kind of wrapped that up a few years ago. So the herd's it was a bittersweet moment for him, but
Yeah.
as he aged and, my cousins weren't really wanting to be involved with that part. They're more on the farming side. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I still have some ways to get some meat. So
Definitely. You always got to have your hookup.
there you go.
Now, you went and pursued a master's in Parks and Rec. Tell us about that experience and why you pursued that and how that helped you out.
I really, if you look at my GPA versus my undergrad and my graduate school, you can tell what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed, and I also was married in grad school, so things may have slowed down a little bit. But it was sport management, but they did a good job of gearing it. When we did facilities, we'd look at recreation centers and sport law. You'd talk about the recreation side of it. But a lot of the folks, I think, in my classes did go work for pro sports teams, and a lot of them, there's not as many jobs, you end up landing in Parks and Rec. So, yeah, I really enjoyed my time at Texas Tech. I was a professor. I taught, a GA. So I taught some classes, kids teaching kids, and taught a walking class, which is a thing. Had some kids fail a walking class, which
what's a walking class?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
It's walking, like basically they have to walk and they learn about anatomy and different things, but basically show up and walk.
Mm-hmm.
And we did have some people that were doing it for rehab and things like that. But some kids, I think, just signed up because, it's an easy A. Well, you got to show up.
Yeah.
I always would fly on the wall when you went home at Christmas and had to tell your parents you failed walking class. Or yeah. So softball, walking, racquetball, and I never really played racquetball. So learned that. But I really enjoyed that, being around the rec center at the collegiate level. So I think that's kind of where it started. And I'd worked for the Boys and Girls Club in my undergrad, and then I worked at a rec center in Lubbock that was in a area that really needed a community center. And so I saw the impact on those kiddos there at the Boys and Girls Club. And I think I was hooked from then on. I think I was moving furniture at the time, and I took that job at the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm like, this is better, making an impact. So
Yeah. Now, where did I missed it, with the university that you went to, where did you get your master's from?
So my undergrad from Angelo State, which is a Division II school in kind of West Texas. And then Texas Tech is where I got my master's. Yeah.
And are there still, so I hear a lot of the universities are kind of starting to scale back, or maybe not offer Parks and Rec related departments or degrees. Is that still going on in your area?
I'm not sure exactly, because mine was truly sport management.
Yeah.
Exercise science is what it came out as, but I don't know if they ever had they had some things, I think, where we blended the hospitality. So we take some classes with the tourism hospitality folks. But I haven't kept up. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. So our next topic is scaling a city. Because some people find themselves in a city that's kind of in decline, the Park and Rec, that maybe the people are leaving the city, but you're kind of in the opposite, where the entire metro area is just exploding. You've got a huge, fab plant, Samsung coming in. It looks like you may have a lot of money coming in from that fab plant to try to get back to the community. And now you've got to just build the city out. So you're really having to scale. So maybe let's just start that conversation around maybe define what is scaling a city in your mind.
I think your infrastructure's got to be first, and that includes parks. I'm always, hey, we're in that conversation.
Yeah.
We may not be as important as wastewater, but I'll argue that we're in the conversation. I always say, take it all out, just rip all the parks out, and then what does your city look like? We're definitely a part of the conversation with quality of life, and why do people pick to live in Taylor versus one of the other suburbs where you could drive to Samsung, drive to your job? We want them to stay at home. So it's scaling with ISD, your county, your state.
What does ISD mean?
School district.
I see. Okay.
So work with the school district because they're scaling too. But also it's like, how much do we scale? We know the growth is coming, but it's really hard to put a finger on it. But we know our water infrastructure's got to get improved on the old pipes, and then into our ETJ outside of the ring, we have a traditional loop around with a gridded old town, you'd say. Those areas where you would see normal sprawl, how we need to get our infrastructure out there, because the state of Texas a few years ago allowed people to withdraw from the ETJ, and we're starting to see those municipal utility districts creep into our area where we would like to sell the water and have those revenues and have our infrastructure out to those greenfield areas. So that's one. Staffing's always hard, and parks is usually one of the last to get staffing. So, police and fire need their people, and planning. It's like kind of planning and development. They're gearing up now because, but we all need it. So doing the staffing, and then being really aggressive on how we get funding. I took over our full grant program, which is pretty in depth with state and federal funds on drainage, water infrastructure, parks. So being really creative and being able to deal with a group that our council wants to try to keep driving our tax rate down with the growth on top of some of the challenges. I don't know if you've had anyone from Texas on in a while, but there's some challenges that the state are trying to put on to cities and limit how we can grow and how fast we can grow. And for a town like Taylor, so say they limit, we can only raise taxes 2%, and we're growing faster than that. Where does the extra funds come from? Right. And that's the pressure we deal with in a growing city, where before people would see the need. You're having so much growth that you could keep the tax rate going down and still have those revenues. But there are some challenging days ahead, even with the growth. And I think people assume that now with that fab, Taylor's flush and we've got all these funds, but it really hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But what you did see was a property value increase. So the county's saying all your property, and it put this pressure on landowners and residents, and we aren't getting those revenues in yet. So it's kind of this lull in between, but we know it's coming. There's still really positive vibes in the city, going to a lot of growth summits, and we're talking to our neighboring towns on water, power, all the same conversations you probably hear around the nation. But with the growth, you have to have those plans in place, and need them yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that plant's probably going to be pretty power hungry. Any idea how many megawatts that thing's going to consume versus how many you'll have available, or where you're going to get all that power?
I don't know off the top of my head. Encore is our provider, and they can provide that. I mean, we're also in the same conversation with data centers. We have one right now coming to town, and I think others that are wanting to. And that conversation on having the power and the water to provide those plants, and a lot of other towns around us are getting data centers too. So power is going to be a challenge. And I know that's statewide on our grid, which if you follow, we've had some issues in the last 5 years with our grid. A winter storm a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
And the state's done a lot. Oh, we did, and lost power for quite a while. Some people up to a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, y'all are 20,000 people. Any idea how many, I guess, jobs that plant's bringing in?
I think about 1,200 jobs. That may be off, but it just depends on how many, first fab, and then they could build more. They've got room to build quite a few more fabs. But I will tell you, during construction, they had about 10,000 folks on the ground building the plant, and they've moved they moved some folks in their office a few weeks ago. So the first workers are in the offices, and now they're working on the inside of the fabrication plant. And I've heard numbers of up to 12,000 workers, which kind of shocked me, because I'm like, oh, you get the frame up, that takes a lot of people. But I guess the detailed work of the fab plant, they have about 12,000 workers that are going to be on site. So that's over half the size of Taylor. So
wow,
of folks and traffic in that area, because the plant is kind of outside of town a little ways.
How far is it from city center, like downtown?
Just a couple miles outside. Right downtown, you'd say probably 2 miles.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that's pretty much on top of it.
It's on top of it, right down the road from the high school. It may be a little further from City Hall to there, but it's not far out.
Yeah. And what are y'all doing for, what's that doing to like home prices or lots? And that's got to be a lot of pushback from the old community that's just been here for, like you said, 5 generations. They kind of don't want change. And then you've got this new player in town that's bringing in a lot of outside people.
Right. It did initially. I think it jacked prices up, inflated them. And I think and that's Austin too, is coming back down a little bit. There's a lot more inventory now than there was a few years ago in Austin and Taylor. So I think it's coming down a little, but I don't think it'll ever. Yeah, I should have bought a house when I took the job before pre-Samsung, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There is that sentiment of, maybe we want to keep this town the way it was, but also as you come in and you see the needs of our roads, Taylor's got some really big needs in our roads and all those infrastructure needs. Where was that money going to come from? And it for decades hadn't been there. So you needed something like this and you kind of can control that growth in a way. If you can ever control growth, tying yourself to a company like that's going to be a part of the community, because they truly have. They've been a huge advocate. They're really big into recreation and being outside, the Korean culture. And they've been great to work with from a PR standpoint and community standpoint.
Yeah. And this is for those that don't know about a fab shop, this is a massive investment for these people. When they choose to come, that they're probably never going to leave, because it's billions of dollars. Any idea the price tag is just the first plant that they're building?
The first plant, the initial was 17 billion.
Wow.
And then room to grow into, I think 6 fabrication plants possibly. And you're well over 100-something billion. There's times that if it built out, it would have, it'd be worth more than the rest of the whole county just in one spot. So the magnitude, of it is pretty daunting for any city, but say a city of, 20,000. Yeah.
Golly, that pretty much is the city. Okay, so we're at the halfway point. We've got a big announcement that we've been kind of rolling out, and it's our Young Professionals Network. Something we hosted every Friday, but then after working with Henry County, Georgia, seeing what they did with interns, I'm like, let's just give this to the interns, find a few, and we've got 2 very talented interns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the old promo, which will be the last time we play it, and then I'm going to play the new promo. This is designed by our interns and one of our video editors. I just kind of gave it to them and said, just make a new promo for the new show. And I thought they did a great job. I didn't do any of this. They literally did all this through interns. So it's just the power of interns, internship programs. And it's very encouraging to see the talent of the young generation that's coming up. And these are like, 20-year-olds building this. So I'll play the old one and then I'll play the new one right after that. So play this and we'll come right back.
Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of Parks and Rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story. On the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we bring you the real stories of tomorrow's professionals, people shaping the future, one idea at a time. Meet the very first DPRS interns to officially host their own segment, Aidan Tierney and Michael Morrow. With curiosity, passion, and a fresh perspective, they're stepping into the spotlight to lead meaningful conversations with today's rising leaders. The Young Professionals Network takes you inside the journeys, challenges, and major wins of young individuals making their mark across industries. From first jobs to bold ventures, every story fuels growth, ambition, and innovation. Each episode brings real conversations, fresh perspectives, and impactful insights created to motivate the next generation of professionals. Whether you're just starting out, exploring new paths, or figuring out your next move. Tune in to the Young Professionals Network every Thursday at 5 p.m. only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Don't miss it, because your next big idea might be one story away.
So what you think of that little promo they made?
That was great.
Yeah.
I think I've moved past young professional now, but I'm so glad to see we still do have a new generation coming in, and it's alive and well. I know in Texas it is. We have that with our state agency and a lot of new blood, and exciting to see.
Yeah, a lot of great talent coming into the industry. When I came into this, there was a big concern, like, what are we doing to get more of our, young talent into this industry? And it seems to be very much what do they call that? Like a discovery major. You just find out later in life, maybe even after graduation, that you can even have a job, even though so many of us grew up in Parks and Rec. We never think that it's a career path. And so I was like, you know what, we're going to do our part to try to, raise awareness around the career path of Parks and Recreation. And ever since we started doing that, it's like they're out there. You just got to kind of get the word out. And the interns are just so talented. So I'm glad to see that growing.
That's amazing.
All right, so let's get back to scaling the city and even how you get ready for this. So how do you juggle that? How do you possibly get ready for growth? Like you said, with all these moving parts, it's not like they said, here's $500 million, go grow the city. It's, you got to go chase the money and then grow it and plan the whole thing.
I think consistency, right? And that's everything I do. You're consistent day to day. You keep pushing forward, doing the best job you can do with the resources you have. But also you have to have a focus on the future and be talking to your teammates, which are the schools, the county, the state, because this thing is bigger than just Taylor. It's a international deal that we're dealing with. We're in an international city now. I went to a groundbreaking last week for a new technology park that's coming into Taylor, and it was a phenomenal event. I've got a couple of groundbreakings coming up, and I'm like, man, it was like a full tent and screens, and they had dignitaries from Korea there, and just the level of detail. I'm like, we're on the front page. And so you have to act like it, and we belong, and we deserve this project, and our people of Taylor deserve the prosperity that comes with it. And balancing that with keeping your green space, because we do have the luxury of having a fairly large park system for our population. Because at one point someone did lay it out it's a lot of floodplain like everyone else, but it's laid out really strategically in some beautiful parks in city, right by downtown. So the same reason I came out in 2021. Like the potential is still there. And so a lot has changed, but the mission's still the same. Just keep working for your residents and balance it. It is an uphill battle for any municipal worker, I think, to get that done and get it all done and know you're doing good work, because we all hear from the loud voices that no matter what you do, you're not doing anything right. But push through that, stay consistent, and work on the culture of the city team, because we've got some great staff and people pushing that ball forward, and community support too.
Yeah. So Parks and Rec professionals typically are hyper aware of the different people and cultures and backgrounds that the people inside their community have. And unfortunately, Parks and Recreation is not as, I don't want to say it's exclusively an American thing, but I've talked to a lot of people that live outside of America that just don't really have Parks and Rec departments, or Parks and Rec is kind of foreign to them. I mean, they have like beautiful landmarks and stuff, but nothing like we have. What's the Korean culture like? I think they do kind of take parks a little serious from their, what's their culture like?
They do take the outdoor spaces, because, you know, in a country like theirs, it's a lot more dense than ours. And so they have to have those spaces to escape. And then recreation, they take it very seriously. They work hard and play hard. You know, they also like barbecue and
well, they came to the right state.
they came to the right state and the right city.
That's probably why they chose Texas then.
It could have been we had water, land, and power, but I'll say it's the barbecue and the people that got them to Taylor. But they are a great culture. We've done some amazing projects with some of their quality of life funds. It was about $150,000 a year they give to certain quality of life projects. This next year, we're using a lot of that for our sesquicentennial, 150 years, 150,000. Samsung's involved. So it made a lot of sense. And the last few years, I've been using it to, we've done pickleball courts, or we refurbished an old walking track around a football field that the city maintains. So they were able to help us get those projects done, and really wellness. So not so much recreation, it's more of a whole body wellness. They helped us fund our wellness center feasibility study, because they want these things for their workers, and they want their workers to live in Taylor and grow in Taylor, because that's what this has provided, is an opportunity for someone that maybe had to, if they were born and raised in Taylor, they had to leave and go get a job somewhere else. Now you can be born there, go to school there, work there. University of Texas is going to build a campus right adjacent pretty much to the high school, and right down the road from Samsung, what they focused on technology.
Now, any idea of how many, you know, South Koreans would be moving here? Because I know it's such a unique skill set, these fab shops, and so I think a lot of people that are running the current fab shops in South Korea are going to have to move here, and it'll probably be obviously a mix of, you know.
It definitely is a mix, and I don't know the exact number, but a lot of those folks have already been here, as part of the construction. They have their construction wing, and we've dealt with them, and they have all their own different PR people, and then Samsung, Austin Semiconductor, because Austin already had a plant right off Palmer, Austin. It's not quite as big as the one they're building in Taylor. So pretty much right down the road, they already had a footprint. So they were able just to push that out. They do have folks that are here, and then they'll go back to Korea, and then they'll come back. So I'm not exactly sure of the number, but yeah, doing things their way, the Samsung way, that's definitely a thing, and then training. But everyone that works with them that I've met really seems to enjoy being part of their company.
Yeah, and you know, here in America, we've got like multiple mega companies like Tesla and Apple and Microsoft, Amazon stuff. But I mean, Samsung is the South Korean company. That's almost like their quasi government, but it's like a big deal when Samsung shows up.
It's a large percentage of their GDP is Samsung or Samsung related, because they have a lot of different subsidiaries. And you mentioned Tesla, which is right down the road in Del Valley off of 130 toll, so south of Taylor. but east of Austin, so same side. Samsung, that was their first large contract they signed, was with Tesla to manufacture chips.
I'll bet you Tesla said, we will buy every chip till the end of time.
That's the plan. So that was a big relief, I think, to everyone to have that large of a company sign on with the plant. Like, it's really happening. We're going to be making chips, and we're not going anywhere. Tesla already had a footprint. They bring a lot of their vehicles up the toll road and then put them on the train at the Taylor rail yard.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. So y'all still have that railroad train depot. That's still very active, still very much part of y'all's economy.
Very active. And I think that's what makes us so marketable to a lot of industry. So we've got sites, that technology park I mentioned, Gradient is what it's called. That's going to be another place for the suppliers to set up. It's
now
got the infrastructure to be set up to support Samsung.
Any forecast of, as far as increased population? Are you looking to kind of be a 40,000 person city in the next decade, or how do you? Because I know
it's hard to gauge. Like, we really haven't started so the population really hasn't boomed yet, but the corporate growth has happened. So I think build out, I've seen numbers 40 to 45,000, but how fast we get there, I don't know if anyone knows. So I think the school is really trying to figure that out, because they need to acquire land and know when to build schools, but you don't want to build them too fast.
Let's talk about the money side of this. So how do you, since they're not just dropping a blank check in your lap, so what kind of work do you have to do to go secure funds for everything that's under your, jurisdiction or under your control?
Well, we're funded through different, like I mentioned, Taylor's done a really great job of acquiring grants and robust grant program. That's one way. Obviously, I mentioned some of the things the state was doing to make it a little harder for cities that are growing to do that. So that's on us and people to reach out to their state reps and say, hey, we're going to need those funds. How do you expect us to grow and catch up on our infrastructure if we aren't able to have those funds available? So it's really a mix of those things. But I've just been maybe it's on my head because we just got finished with the audit of one of our grants, and it was really great. And working on our drainage, 2 of our major drainage issues are going to get funded through grants. It's fairly flat in Taylor, so the water doesn't move out as fast, and some long-standing drainage issues going to get fixed. But it is a balance. In our development agreement with Samsung, we were able to have use tax. So basically the goods that are put on the ground and concrete, rebar, that monies would come to Taylor, not where they purchased it, but where it landed. So you saw a spike in our sales tax during major construction, and then you'll see a lull. And then we're hoping if there's another fabrication plant, which that's hopefully the plan, is that we'll see another spike in that use tax. And we were smart in that. We didn't use those funds to go hire a bunch of staff, because the bottom did kind of fall out of it at flat lines. And it was one-time uses. So equipment, fleet, acquiring a new building for public works, different things like that, one-time uses. And I saw that where some of our parks equipment was a decade old and we needed a new groomer or whatever it was. We were able to get that truly through Samsung. And I don't think that's something that people see as much, but that was the construction use tax impacting what we could buy in the last few years.
Yeah. Now, I bet you doing a master plan, that's got to be insane. Do y'all even have a master plan, or is it just moving so fast you just really can't plan that far in advance?
We're actually in the process right now of engaging on rewriting our comprehensive plan, and that plan is not that old. It was actually adopted in 2021, and Samsung was factored in somewhat, but what has happened from 2021 till now
changes everything.
No one prepared for that. So we're actually trying to update our comprehensive plan to allow some growth that we need to happen. And Parks Master Plan, you go from, I came in and we had a capital improvement plan, maybe 1 or 2 years, you just didn't have the funds to budget out,
Yeah.
And so you're building a 5-10 year plan, and really went to work on that plan and the needs, and got some amazing, this next summer going to open a new swimming pool. Our trail system's getting some much needed updates, and I feel really good about what was done and has been done in our parks in the last 5 years, and there's still a lot more to go.
Yeah.
And then looking at needing to redo the parks plan, where some cities can get away with doing it every 10 years. We're probably more of a 5-year cycle right now.
Yeah,
the plan gets old and it needs to be adapted.
Now, how many parks do y'all have right now? Green spaces, parks, community centers. Kind of give us a snapshot.
We have about 8 major parks, a little over 300 acres, so not huge. And we also have a large sports complex, 5 baseball, 5 softball, some soccer fields. So we're in that tourism game as well. And we do it all with 7 maintenance guys.
No way. Y'all got any robots helping out yet, or is it just the old fashioned way?
No robots yet, but we do. We don't have the painters yet, so I'm probably going to get a call from a sales rep now that's watching this. But we're looking at doing it. But you could have 7 guys at the sports complex. So we're looking at synthetic turf. We're actually turfing some infields. Would like to probably do it all, but the drought the last few summers where our sports complex is, we're on, black lime prairie, black dirt, and it cracks really easy.
What is that?
Expands and cracks. So it's just clay, basically. The reason the agriculture was out here, that fertile black clay, which is not good for construction, right? So it gets wet, it dries, it expands, compacts, and it's hard. You have to either rebuild things. So that's why our roads are bad. Our water pipes in the summers when it dries out can pop. It's tough construction. And then you go west of like Interstate 35 and it's all limestone, so a little different. So we're at a disadvantage. The amount of concrete I think Samsung put in their plant was, you couldn't get concrete while they were pouring. They were pouring so much. The piers had to go so deep. So it's a challenge, but we've got a great park system. We don't have the recreation center, which I grew up in my career in a rec center. So I know what that can do for a community. So, and there's our feasibility study. I think somewhere like 90% of the people were like, yes, we want it. And now it's how do we figure that out? Location, and working with some folks to help us get that done.
Well, we made a video. I'm sure you've seen it, but if not, I'd love to get your take on it. The why Parks and Rec should be considered an essential service. I'd love to get your feedback on it, because after this conversation, if anybody is prepared to defend Parks and Rec as an essential service, it's somebody that's scaling and building, and you've got this new culture coming in that very much values parks and recreation. So I'll play this, and then I'd love to get your feedback on it.
Great.
So, all right, let's go ahead and hit it.
Every career is a choice, but few careers let you touch lives. Not once in a while, but every single day. Step into a park on a Saturday morning. You'll hear children laughing on the soccer field, families gathering for a picnic, seniors walking the trails, friendship. And behind every smile, every memory is a Parks and Rec professional. We don't just mow fields, we grow confidence in young athletes. We don't just build playgrounds, we create safe spaces where childhood thrives. We design moments that anchor generations. Think of the coach who teaches patience, the director who champions equity, the staff member who sees potential in a child. Every day, Parks and Rec professionals shape character, preserve beauty, and strengthen community. And the path isn't easy. Budgets are tight, resources stretched thin, but the reward, because what you give comes back in legacy, in healthier communities, in lives forever changed. So why dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation? Because here, your work never ends. It lives on, in laughter echoing across playgrounds, in green spaces, in the young professionals rising to lead tomorrow. This is not just a career, it's a calling. It's a recreation. A message from the Parks and Rec community. All right, so Tyler, imagine you're in front of a whole room full of elected officials that maybe don't quite understand the value of Parks and Rec. You just played that. What is your message to them?
Man, that gets me so fired up, Craig. That's it right there. It's such a good video. I had a question maybe a month or two ago about return on investment, and we've done a way better job of quantifying, property values adjacent to parks, tourism revenue from sports tournaments. We're doing a better job of that than ever, but it truly is hard to put a price on a kid's smile. And I told someone that, and he kind of laughed, but I think he may have got it. It's hard to quantify, like everything we do and the impact. It's just telling our story, and like people like you doing this and getting that story out there. And we have more support than we think we do. Those naysayers and those loud voices are always going to be there, but like I said, that just gets me fired up because that's it. We do so much and with so little, and we just keep doing it, keep showing up, and having a seat at the table. Essential services are there.
Another pitch I'd like you to give. Imagine that you're sitting in front of a group of college kids that don't really know what they want to do. What is your testimony to the industry? Why they should consider dedicating their life to a similar career path that you've chosen?
Some days I would tell them to not do it. Go to a different room.
Right.
I think I spoke on a panel for young professionals at Traps one year, and jokingly, we all before we're laughing like, what do they want to do it for? Because it's thankless, but I think the reward at the end of the day, you're making an impact. I spoke to some young engineering professionals, and our city engineer was, because they could go work in private engineering, like why municipal engineering, and he had a great point. He's like, I make an impact every day on these people's lives, and I can. Like you can see what we're doing. So, you can always go make more money, but it's what fills your bucket at the end of the day, and helping people. That's been my calling, and I think I'll just keep sticking with it.
Yeah, powerful testimony there. Okay, so we have a little tradition at the end of our show. One of our former guests left you a question. This comes from a 3-time guest. Jonathan O. Skinner, called Papa J, from Lake Ellis, California. Great guy. His question is, out of all the programs and events that people thought would be a failure, how did you change that to be a success, to change people's lives?
Oh, man. That's a tough one because there's a lot. Because there's people just look for you to fail in a lot of things. Well, we had an issue. Remember I mentioned those birds a few years ago. We had an issue on the 4th of July. For decades, they had shot these fireworks right above these thousands of egrets. And we had an issue where someone flew into a power line. So how are we going to figure this out? Because the American Legion is in that park, and we're not going to move it out away from the Legion because they help us. So we were able to relocate the fireworks show, work with all the Texas Parks and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Game, to get everyone comfortable to be, 1,000 something, 1,500 feet away. So that was a big challenge once you start dealing with protected birds and those kind of things. And we came out of it. And every year the birds have been going the other way the last 3 years, and save that for the city. But that's one where people don't know the level of detail you had to get into to get everyone on board, and then keep the community happy, dealing with all these other agencies, and just so everyone can see their fireworks.
That is a perfect
So,
that's
no
a
glory
perfect
in it.
example of the stuff Parks and Rec, the random stuff Parks and Rec has to do, relocating birds for fireworks and American Legion, and that's your job.
Yep.
I love it.
And all those other things, but
Yeah. All right. So, what question would you like to leave for my next guest?
oh, man, I wasn't prepared for this.
It's got to be. Let's see. Hold on, I can pull it up. Curtis Coates. Where's Curtis from? Hold on, let me look him up. Curtis Coates. He is. Oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. He's a director specialized in innovation expansion, and he is from Georgia, Warner Robins, Georgia. So, a guy from Georgia will be getting your question.
All right. So here's one. So we all know the story. The show Parks and Rec is more real than anyone would like to know. So
Right.
what's his pilot episode theme?
Oh, I love
If he
it.
were to do his own Parks and Rec show for his town, what is the leading episode? Mine may be egrets. I don't know, but I got other ones too. But what is the
What is
first
the
pilot episode theme
for his Parks and Rec?
for his department?
That's a great question. It reminds me, one of them I got early on was, if you were a piece of playground equipment, what would it be and why? And this is better than that though, because it really is. You watch the comedy series and you're like, there's no way this is a job. But it is.
If people ask if you watched it, well, of course I've watched it. Well, who are you? I'm like, well, I don't know. Some days I'm Ron Swanson. I don't want to be, but
yeah,
I'm more Leslie Knope, I guess, than Ron Swanson.
Right.
So.
Well, Tyler, man, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Y'all have a beautiful part of the country. Got so much going on. I can't wait to visit many times. Come check out the growth that you're in charge of.
All right, man. If you ever get this way, or if New Orleans is great too. If you change your mind, come on.
That's it. You might have me maybe as I retire, but I appreciate you coming on the show today. Thanks for all your help.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, take care. Bye. All right, another great episode with Tyler Bybee over there in Taylor, Texas, one of the boom towns in America and in the Texas market and in the Austin area. So many cool things happening. Great city. If you haven't had a chance to go to Austin, it really is like the epicenter of all fantastic stuff. And Tyler's right in the middle of trying to scale an entire city, Parks and Rec department, infrastructure with some of the biggest names and players in the world. So that's, if you want to talk about an exciting career path, man, Parks and Recreation, it's just a great episode to really give kids an insight as to what they'll be doing and how they really are, in charge of the change that's happening inside of communities and how they're bringing in the Korean culture into Texas and making sure that their park systems kind of cater to them and just a really great story. So thanks a lot, Tyler, for coming on that show today. All right, so we got a lot of great updates. Man, this has been a crazy year. I cannot believe it's only been 1 year. 2025 has just been a banger year for us. We're probably going to crush 400 episodes just in the first year. Our internship program is just booming. I thank you so much to Thomas White at Henry County, Georgia. This guy is just a force of nature. Me and his director, JP, were laughing. Like, Thomas is like just this cannon. You just point and get out the way. But he has such a robust internship program. I encourage everyone to go watch the old episodes where Thomas talks about how they use their internship programs. And it really is just like a nursery for the talent that's coming up. And many of their interns stay and work for the Parks and Rec system over there at Henry County, Georgia. And I think everybody should do that. And as I was saying this, that everybody should have an internship program like Henry County, Georgia, I'm looking at myself saying, well, what are you doing with interns? And how come you aren't offering some internship program with the daily Parks and Rec show. And I said, well, you know what? You can't just talk the talk. So we kind of just put the word out and got two very talented, first Michael and then Aiden. And then now we're working with LSU. I'll be presenting about our internship program to the Mass Communication College over on LSU campus. And I've got a couple other universities that are interested in sending us interns. So by the way, if you are in mass communication, broadcast journalism, or in Parks and Rec and would like to learn how to create content and build media for the industry of Parks and Recreation, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'll give you a little glimpse into what we're going to plan on doing. I help each of the interns start their own little company. So we start a little LLC with them. It's a consulting company. So they'll have their little bank account, the LLC, their EIN. So they're going to leave the internship program with a fully functional business. And then they'll send an invoice to DPRS Media Company so that as we get revenue through the work they're doing, we pay that. So they're able to keep more of their money and learn how to operate tax efficiently a little business. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two is they learn how to operate a media company and their own show. So we assigned two of the interns to a show, and they're able to, I teach them how to recruit. First, we give a whole makeover to their LinkedIn profile and show them how to network within an industry. So then they get connected to the Parks and Rec industry, even more connected, grow their influence in the community and connections within the community of Parks and Rec. And then I teach them how to recruit show guests to come on the show and tell their story. And so they're networking behind the scenes. They're scheduling a pre-show prep call, which anybody that's been on the show, you know, we sit on the phone for about an hour preparing, just like I did with Tyler. We sat on the phone and kind of learned all about what was going on in Taylor, Texas. And it's like, all right, you just kind of plan out the show. And then they get to host shows. So you're learning how to do stage management, how to lead a conversation, how to lead a panel. And with a lot of this stuff, you just need practice. You just need a place to hone your skills. So then once we capture the live show, that's not the end of it. That's just live streaming, live show, stage management, stuff like that. We're also teaching them how to run all the software using StreamYard and Slack and all these other team communications. But we assign one of our very talented video editors at the Daily Parks and Rec show to that show with the intern. So now they're like a little team, and they learn how to make the promo. So you saw that promo that they made for the new YPN promo, and then they get to run the whole show. But then they get to learn how to edit the show. They get to contribute to all the digital media that we're creating. And then you have to learn how to distribute. So that's where you distribute your piece of content onto all the social media platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Instagram and X. And you learn how to work the comment sections. And then I even bring them onto the revenue side. That's how do you find people that find commercial value in the work and the content that you've created and partner with them. And so you learn how to build an entire media company from start to finish. And at the same time, the benefit the Parks and Rec industry gets is we get young talent that's being connected in this industry and learns just the spirit of the Parks and Rec industry and how to create content, edit content, and distribute content for the Parks and Rec industry. So we just get to help build this media company. And they leave after a one-year internship program with not only a little company, a very marketable skill set, but I'm like, guys, y'all are going to be interviewing potential employers that might look at you and say, hey, I saw you did an internship with DPRS Media Company. Would you like to come to Taylor, Texas and help us run our marketing department? And now we get the word out about special events and manage our Facebook page. And there you go. So that's our internship program. We've launched it. Got 2 interns. We got about, I think 3, maybe 4 on the way that will probably be part of our internship program. That'll put us up to 6 interns. I'd say within the next probably couple of months, we'll have 6 interns working with the Daily Parks and Rec show, helping us to create content for the the Parks and Rec industry. So if you're interested or you know of any college kid that this might be what they want to do, have them reach out to me. We'll get that conversation going. All right. So a lot of great stuff coming up. We have still doing a show, I think, for Thanksgiving. I'm going to come and say hello during Thanksgiving. I'm fairly certain my guest, my show host, Aaron Locks, is probably going to do something for the Youth Sports Mastery show. We're not going to do a young professional show, even though the new time slot is Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern. So we're moving the Friday Young Professionals Network show from Friday 12 noon to Thursday 5 p.m. And that's going to be run by our two very talented interns, Michael and Aiden. So be looking for that. But great show today. Thank you so much, Tyler, for coming on the show today, representing Taylor, Texas. Awesome show. All right, guys. I will see y'all here again tomorrow. Love you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. Starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of Parks and Rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story.